Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and today I thought I would kind of venture back off of another subject that's been popular lately, and that's buying used fishing tackle and equipment from yard sales, from garage sales, from flea markets and the like. And well, from time to time we all get excited about finding a particular reel that we've been looking for, and well, it just doesn't live up to our expectations. That expectation being that you're going to be able to take that reel fishing again. So I thought I would do another one of these cautionary tales about fishing reels you should not buy at flea markets, garage sales, etc. if you're hoping to get those out on the water and catching fish. Why? Well, there's certain traps, if you will. There's reasons why fishing reels go on sale. People look to dispose of them and so on. And a lot of them have to do with the fact that, well, they're broken and they can't be repaired. Well, we're going to go over a group of those that I've received here, hoping to be rejuvenated and put back into service, then given a second chance that, well, maybe that's beyond expectation. Well, if you like these kinds of videos, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to the channel, please use that notification button. It'll let you know when I am posting. We work on all kinds of reels, and from time to time we get reels in that we try to work on, and well, it's just end of game, if you will. So let's take a look at some of these, and we'll kind of explain what's going on with the reel and what to avoid in the future. Now let's start with this one. This is an interesting one. This is a reel. It's a Orenomatic from South Bend. I'm sure it was purchased at a flea market or something. You can tell it's had a hard life. It's got a lot of dents on this side. But when you come over to the other side of it, you can see the frame is bent. I don't know what whacked it or what have you. The frame is bent, so it can't retrieve. There's no real good way to true up a bent frame. So it might be good for a parts reel. It's not going to be good for fishing. You can see how it's collapsed in here. You have about, I don't know, 1.5 inches there, 1.25 inches here. The whole thing got slammed in somehow. But avoid that at all costs, if you will. It's a poor investment, and I don't know what's slammed here. The foot is bent in and so on. But if you note obvious damage on a fishing reel and you hope to restore that fishing reel, be aware that it may be more than just the superficial issues with the reel. It can go quite deep and be quite extensive and expensive to repair. So stay away from stuff like this with obvious damage. Here's a second one that's kind of got the obvious damage as well. It goes beyond, I think this reel needs a handle. This is a Mitchell 304. It came in with a group of Mitchell reels. There was 3 of them, 3 on the table here. I don't know what they paid for them. I'm going to bet that they paid parts reel prices. They should have paid parts reel prices for this. This one's going to be tough. It's not just the handle. The handle snapped off inside of the main gear. When it snapped off inside of the main gear, well, looks like somebody's tried to get an easy out or something to make it work in here. Looks like it's been drilled out somehow, or tried to be drilled out somehow. What that means is you're going to need to replace the main gear and the handle, assuming the rest of the reel is okay, in order to get this one functional. Well, by the time you find and locate the pieces and parts, get them to you, the cost of the pieces and parts will probably exceed what you paid for the reel. And, well, it can be done. You can repair that, but it's not going to be an easy task. Next one up then is a Quantum. This is a Quantum rear drag fishing reel, and the surface seems to do fine. You have all the features and functions. However, the Easy Cast is jammed. It's not working. And that lever is worn on the side, so you're not going to be able to trip this. You normally would use an Easy Cast to pull back on. This is jammed here. So test all your features and functions before you make a purchase. That's the message with this one. You can fish this, of course you can. You can use it as a normal, open up the bail, cast, and close, let the bail trip back, kind of a fishing reel, but you're not going to be able to use it with that Easy Cast feature if that's something that you're interested in avoid that reel. This is an interesting one in that it has 3 switches on it. This one allows you to have the anti-reverse throughout. It allows you to have the back pedal, and it allows you to have the single stop for that easy cast. It's a feature that Quantum put on the reels because they realized a lot of times folks that were using the snapshot, in this case their easy cast is called snapshot, the snapshot feature didn't like where it took a long time for that to reset to the instant anti-reverse. So if you do go over to the other side, which is the constant or consistent stop, it won't always realign with that casting feature. Again, the reel can be used, but notice if you do intend to use that snapshot feature, this one's not working, and you're going to have trouble with that. Here's another example of a reel you should not buy. And again, it's about the pieces and the parts, costs associated with it. This one is a Mitchell 300A. It's got a broken spool, so you're going to need to replace the spool. Got all kinds of something on here. Looks like the innards of that. I'm not sure what happened with that spool. This is the drag washer system that would be inside that spool. But you're going to need to replace the spool, and you have a broken handle. Now this is a transition reel. So by transition reel, I mean it's a 300A. Mitchell made millions of Mitchell 300s, not as many on the 300As. The 300As were originally made in France, and then they moved the production to Taiwan. It might be hard to see here. But if you're looking for the replacement reel, it may be more difficult to find because the numbers weren't there as opposed to a Mitchell 300. So just be aware, if you're going to find one that you think needs parts, be aware that sometimes parts are not going to be as easy to find as you may think they are. This one also has a failed anti-reverse. So again, check out all features and functions when you go to try and do a reclamation project. Here's another 300A. Maybe between the two you can get one, but again, we're missing the spool and the axle shaft here. So I don't know if we have the anti-reverse on this one. So searching for a spool, searching for a handle. The handles are different. The handles have a plastic nut cap on the bottom of them. They don't have the traditional metal winged cap, and the gearing inside of it is different. So just be aware of that if you go to try and purchase that. Interestingly enough, we got another one here. This is a common problem. People pick up a reel. Gee, it seems to be running nice and free and easy. Well, for the most part. Tighten that up. It's missing its drag system. You will not find replacement parts other than buying a donor reel for those replacement parts. So in the case of this, nice, could be used for a parts reel. It's not going to be able to go fishing again. Here's an interesting one. This is another rear drag reel. This is a Shakespeare. On the surface it looks pretty good, but it's missing the pin that holds the bail wire in, and it is a pin. It's not a screw. So it's not like you can go into the parts bin or look around for a common type of a bail screw that will thread into the bail arm. Rather, this one has a pin and an E-clip on it. It might be hard to see in that. Let's see if we can get it a little bit better there. A pin and an E-clip on there. And these types of reels are not supported by parts and replacement parts and repair. This one's probably from the 2000s, maybe 2015. It's a beautiful reel. Unfortunately, that piece and part will render it useless. And then we have one more here, which is kind of an unusual one. This is a Silster reel. Silster's out of business, so again, don't think that you're going to be able to find any parts. And in this case, we have a axle shaft that's not holding. Well, there's a cam in here on the bottom of the reel that's got a rectangular shape to it that's supposed to hold the rectangular piece from your axle shaft, and then you can clamp down on that by adjusting your rear drag. In the case of this reel, that cam has been elongated. There is no rectangle anymore. It's turned circular. It can't grab the axle shaft, and as a result, you're not going to get any rear drag. So the reel may look and function fine. Unfortunately, again, the company's out of business. There are no spare parts, and you have a cam that is needed that's just not going to be available. So the message here is, if you're going to be buying parts from, or fishing reels from flea markets, you can find some wonderful deals that are great opportunities to explore from a fishing standpoint and try and put back on the water. But just be aware that parts are going to be the biggest challenge, and in some cases there may be some hidden damage there that you're just not expecting. So thoroughly check out the reels. Here's one more. This is interesting. I haven't figured out why this one isn't tripping yet. It should trip, but there's a story behind this one, so I thought that's why I would put this one on the table as well. This is a Perrine Manufacturing Company free stripping automatic flywheel. The spring is holding. There is no trip on this, so we're going to have to take this one apart and find out why that's happening. But I like this one because of Perrine. So those of you that may be around long enough and of a certain generation may recognize the name Perrine, particularly if you put Perrine and the secondary name Aladdin behind it. Perrine Aladdin made the lunch boxes everybody became endeared to, if you will, when we were trucking off to school at a certain period in our lives. So the old metal lunch boxes with all of the cartoon characters and superheroes and the like, a lot of them were made by Perrine Aladdin, and Perrine also made the automatic flywheel here. So just thought I'd pass that one along to you. This one's probably a good one. We got to find out why it's not tripping, but the other ones, please be aware. If you are going to purchase this thinking that they're going to go on the water, the deal could get quite expensive before you finish that. We have a viewer out there, Tony, who tells me it's called going down the rabbit hole. I would agree with him. You open up that reel and you find out you got a lot more to do than a simple tune-up and cleaning. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Be forewarned that there are a lot of good deals out there. There are also a lot of deals suffering from trauma and other things that cannot be repaired. And be advised that, if you take your time, if you study the reel, if you check it all out thoroughly, you could get a great bargain. However, you may have spent some money that could be better spent in other places if you're in a rush and not fully aware of what the issues are with those reels. Well, before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, everybody involved in keeping us out of harm's way. Truly appreciate your efforts. I want to thank you for watching. We did this one because a lot of folks liked the first edition of this. If you see things that you would like to see more of, please let me know. If you have ideas for novel videos, please leave them as well, and I'll try to make those videos as I can. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day.